Well, good evening, folks. I just recovered from the AC/DC concert here on Saturday here in Adelaide. What a magnificent gig it was. But let's fast forward to Wednesday now. I'm talking to a band that's coming to Australia next year. It's 1349, and I'm speaking to one of the members, Ravn. How you going, Ravn?
Hey, nice to meet you.
Good, man, and man, we are so thrilled. Let's just go straight into it off the top. You guys are coming to Australia next February. Unfortunately, Adelaide doesn't have a slot for you guys, but are you looking forward to hitting the shores again and getting your music out there to the Australian audience?
It will be our first time in Australia, so we're really stoked to see this happen after 19 years of existence. And next year we will come over there and finally being able to meet our Australian fans. And
Yeah.
from what I can tell by responses and meeting people around the world at festivals and such, there is a following of 1349 in Australia and New Zealand, so it is a long time dream for us as a band as well to come down and finally pay tribute to you guys as well. So.
Yeah. Well, before we go into the latest album that was released last year, let's go back to where you first started 19 years ago compared to you are now. Do you ever thought it was possible to travel overseas, especially to Australia?
It's always a decision that you have to make when you start with a band, either if you're going to be a touring band or if you're going to just be a studio project. So when we decided that we were going to be a touring band, we set no boundaries. We set out to play wherever, whenever, as long as there was a minimum of money involved, so that we could go there and not have to pay for out of our own pockets. And that's what we've been doing ever since. So Australia was definitely one of the places we wanted to go to. We had I remember we played with Hobbs Angel of Death here in Oslo. We were and he in 2004, and he really wanted us to come to Australia. So he was going to try and do something, but it never came down to us going down there. So after this many years, it's good to finally make it happen, though.
I mean, what an ambassador Peter Hobbs is from Hobbs Angel of Death. He's been doing it for many, many years. And in matter of fact, he's just gone back overseas to do another tour as well, back in Europe as well. So he's a magnificent ambassador for Australian metal music and the society of the metal genre in Australia. But we also have bands like Mortal Sin as well that been riding the storm as well. So yeah, we do have a following here of the metal underworld type of genre as well. So it's great to hear that you guys are coming as well.
Yeah, it will be.
Yeah,
We're really, really looking forward to it, and to finally experience the and see how Australian fans are at concerts compared to people in the rest of the world. It's also interesting. I like to see how the crowd changes from city to city and from country to country. It's every town has its own take of how they act at concerts. So it's interesting.
Yeah. Well, last year you released an album called The Candlelight Years. I have to say, what an outstanding album it is. I mean, you guys have got a lot of flavour, you got a lot of thrill, you got a lot of things going all at once. It's just like a big, massive, what can I say, annihilation. I mean, the first song, Manifest, all I can hear in that song that really hits me is a machine gun style on the drums. Was that the way that you guys wanted to go full tilt with all thrill, no fill, basically?
Well, that the Candlelight Years, that's all the albums that we released on our first label, Candlelight Records in the UK. And Manifest is the opening song of our debut album. So that's definitely how we wanted to break the ice, so to speak, and show the world that this is 1349 and it only goes one way from here, you know. And the Candlelight Years is all the albums that we released on that label. And Liberation was supposed to act as a wake-up call to all the other or to the fans of black metal that had started listening to bands that said they were playing black metal music in the later half of the 90s, but to me it resembles more of a goth act due to the use of synthesizers and compositions that they chose. And I felt that all the grimness and the darkness in black metal was gone, and I wanted to recreate, bring in all the aggression and the speed that it's always fascinated me and that I love about the thrash metal scene. So those two influences, bringing and taking care of the heritage of the Norwegian black metal, the way that I became a fan of, and the way that I think that Norwegian black metal should sound, you know, that's kind of what that inspired me and made me take the decision to form 1349 in the first place. So Liberation is the wake-up call and kind of sets the ground rules for what 1349 is and where we're going. So it had to be brutal. It had to be an extremely distorted guitar sound and kind of disturb you in a way, but also to trigger your curiosity. And from there on, we just never looked back. We went on going through our releases. And Beyond the Apocalypse came the year after, and then Hellfire, which was the huge breakthrough album, and that spiraled us into many years of touring before we released Revelations of the Black Flame, which we had to make a completely different take on the whole approach that we had to music. We realized that people had one impression of 1349, and that was that we played fast music. So we had to make an album that focused on all the other values that we also felt that we paid a lot of attention to in the music, but decided that we have to make an album solely focused on those feelings, and that was the atmosphere and the darkness in the music. So that's why that album is radically different. Also, it was the album to follow up Hellfire, which was kind of become a benchmark, and we didn't want to release another Hellfire album, and we felt that was the wrong way to go down, and that will stall the band and make us stuck on one road. So we had to break new ground, and if it hadn't been for Revelations, we would never have gone further and made Demon Noir, and later on the latest release that came out in September last year, Massive Cauldron of Chaos, which is the album that we tour on now.
Yeah. So how long did it roughly take you guys to get this album? Like, you got a plan, you got so many songs that you want to put on the album, and then you got to go into the studio, rehearse, and then put the final tracks on. How long did all that take in a process? Because when I look at it, at this album, The Candlelight Years, there's so many great songs on it, and it has to been taken a short amount of time to get the way that you guys wanted it to sound like.
But as I said, The Candlelight Years it's 4 albums that were released over a period from 2003 with Liberation, 2004, Beyond the Apocalypse came, then Hellfire came in 2005, and then Revelations of the Black came out in 2009. So the 4 albums have the time span from 2003 to 2009. So that's the compilation, and it's also, if I'm not mistaken, it includes also the DVD from a live show in Zurich. No, not Zurich, but in Switzerland. It's further down south towards Geneva, and has a bonus track as well, which should be Tom G. Warrior singing The Usurper as a cover song with us.
Yeah. So, how important is you for 139 now to maintain the fan base? I mean, you're coming to Australia for the first time. You heard about the following. You heard about the support that the Australian fans do have for metal music. But the question is, how important is for you guys to maintain that new fan base here in Australia and expand that overseas to other areas as well?
Well, the fans is what makes us continue releasing albums, because if it wasn't a market, we wouldn't be getting deals and we wouldn't be getting labels to release our albums. So of course the fans plays a big part in this, but we have deliberately chosen not to think of the fans when we make the music. If you want to be a fan of 1349, you will always be challenged by our music. That is one of our goals, because we need to challenge ourselves as musicians in order to evolve and grow as musicians and human beings, basically. So we want to challenge ourselves maximum at every album and find a new take and do something different with every album. And that is something that some fans find hard, but the other one that appreciate us for the music that we make and kind of loves the atmosphere of the band and the spirit of the band, they will be in it for they will have a treat and a blast for years to come.
Over the years, especially in 2010, you've done some one-off European shows. You went to Finland for the first time. Then you went over to the US to tour with Cannibal Corpse and later headlining with some other bands as well. Where would you like to see 1349 go from here? Is there anything on your bucket list that you like to do leading into 2016, 2017 and so forth?
Well, we said that we would like to play all over the world as long as we get accommodated and we can go there, and there's a promoter that will supply the gear that we need and pay for our trip. We basically will play around the world. That's what you need to do when you are a touring band, and that's what we're going to continue to do. We haven't had the pleasure of going to South America yet. That's always a dream. We've been to Japan, but Asia is such a huge market regardless. So basically we go anywhere, as long as it's a fan base there.
Yeah,
we would like to meet them and show them what true Norwegian black metal is. That's kind of the job that we've taken upon us now, and then we need to stand for it. We can't back down now. We're in too deep,
Had there ever been a country that said no, we cannot have you, or you haven't been down that road yet?
No, we managed to skip most of that. It's always a battle if you go into a country that you need a visa. And it's always a process, and it costs a lot of money. That's the worst, like going to the US. It costs us like $3,000 to get the visas every time you go over there. So I don't, like, people ask and say like, oh, can you come play? Yeah, we can come play, but it's also a lot of hours spent on paperwork and a lot of money being used in order to get just the papers right. Of course, you can go in as tourists and stuff, but as long as it's getting harder and harder because you get you get a reputation as a band, and all that the immigration officer need to do, you just need to look up your name on the internet now, and then he'll be like, yeah, I don't think you're going here as a tourist, and they send you back, and that jeopardizes the show, and that jeopardizes also the experience for all the fans that come out. So we always, as long as possible, we try to play by the rules of each country in order to build and maintain the relationship with the fans. It's they are the reason why we're coming there in the first place. So we can't make any errors that will fall back on them, because they're an innocent third party, basically. So it's.
I want to ask you a bit of a fan question. I want you to get into like a fan type of scenario here, but also I want to ask you also as a member of 1349, when you start up a band and you want success, of course everyone wants success, but when did that success or that goal start to get a little bit murky? Because there's so many bands out there that just don't have the head on their right shoulders, so to speak. All they want is success, but they don't want to do the hard work leading up to that success. How do you feel for that? I mean, you guys obviously must have seen it over the years as well, being a fan of black metal and all that. How do you see that? I mean, how relevant is it right now to maintain your exposure? Don't let yourself get ahead of yourself, so to speak.
Well, it's when I decided to form 1349, it was as I said, it wasn't a reaction. I was totally happy by being a fan of black metal. But when the scene changed, and black metal became something that I didn't like it anymore. Basically, it had become synonymous with something that didn't evoke those feelings in me that it did originally when I heard Burzum. So that's when I decided to form 1349 and kind of take matters into my own hands. And I was so fortunate to find other people that could join me on this quest, and they understood where we needed to go, and that's kind of the foundation for the band. But as you say, there's so many bands out there, and they think of the success, and because that's what they see. They have and all you get to experience as you go, basically. And if people had knew what they were getting into when starting a band and wanting success, if they had any idea how much work it is to get there and what you have to sacrifice to do that, I think that the amount of bands out there would be a lot less.
Yeah.
Because people are in general, they see, oh, we just post our music online and we'll get recognized. Yeah, if you're only like 2 bands a day that do that, maybe, but it's like 20,000 bands, 200,000 bands, I don't know, that does that every day, every hour, basically. It's flooded. So to kind of get your message through, it's basically internet opened up a portal for so that anybody could be a musician and get their music out there. But it also, in many ways, made things a lot harder. So I don't know I think the main part that changed with the internet taking over the music industry was that it was a shift of power from some few people that own the labels and kind of decided who were going to be popular to more into the hands of every human being, that they could find their own music online and make whoever they wanted popular.
Yeah.
There's only one error about this, and that is that the big labels are still running it and things on the internet can be manipulated. So that combined with people wanting to be told what they're going to do, as religious people mostly, that's why people get religious. They want to be told what they're going to do in order to live their life as they should. Then basically you are at the same point as you were when having big labels, except that there's no money left for the musicians. So what happened, if you look at it in retrospective, if it's for the better or the worse, people can discuss that, but what happened, and now we just have to deal with it. Now, being a metal musician in all this is actually, we are the last ones to have fans that actually care for the physical format, and like a lot of metal fans are really true fans to the bands that they like, and they stick with the band and they support the band, and they kind of know more that feeling. They see music as a form of living or a form of lifestyle, and they embrace that in a completely different way than people that just put on the radio to have a background noise, basically. So it's a different approach, I think, when you deal with metal people, and in the long term, I think that will benefit us. That to the subculture that black metal is, and we will, of course, well, only the strong survive. So.
Well, let's go back onto the tour. I want to ask you, for those who are humming and hawing, like being, what's the right word I'm trying to get out of my mouth here, is being hesitant to get a ticket. What do you want to say to those fans who haven't quite yet made up their mind to see 1349 yet?
Well, if you haven't made up your mind yet, then just remember this. This is a one-time chance. If we can prove this time around after this many years that we have enough fans that comes to our show in Australia and New Zealand, then I don't know how many years it will be till we can return, if we ever can return. Mm. It's taken so many years for us to come down there and do this, and there's no other way to experience the oral hellfire. That is the word that we put on our performance and put on our music. We say we label it oral hellfire, basically. Mm. Because and to experience that live is something that we have worked on throughout many years now and perfected into, and still perfecting every show that we do. We're working on how we present our music and the intensity that we do it with, and every people that had experienced 1349 for the first time, and that they come and meet them after the show, and that they're blown away. And a lot of people that I know that they're not metal people, but they know one of us from other various reasons, or other like colleagues or people that are not metal people, and they go to see a 1349 show. Mm. And they say that I don't care too much for your music when listening to it on an album, but to see you guys live is really, really impressive. Mm. And I'm really proud, and I get really proud when people say that, because it's definitely something that we've worked really hard to achieve, and for people that are not metal people also to see that and acknowledge that and get blown away by it. And they say, like, I would definitely I would definitely just go to your show just to feel the energy that comes out of the band on stage, and that's kind of the essence of this. 1349 live is all the elements coming in together at play, and you get the visual aspect, you get the audio there, and you get to smell and to feel and to be together with a band. And it's if you just let go and just bring everything in on you, it's a vast experience that it's a ritual basically.
Yeah. Well, guys, there you have it. The Chaos Rage Australian tour is in February, starting on the 23rd in Perth and going right across to the 28th over to Wellington in New Zealand. 1349 is hitting Australia for the very first time, and it's an absolute pleasure, Ravn, just to speak to you. And it's just one last thing that you like to say to the fans down under. What will it be, man?
Come out and we'll have a blast.
Yeah. Alright, guys, that's all the time we got for. I mean, it's just an absolute pleasure. I want to say thank you for joining me and talking to me, and we cannot wait for you guys to hit Australia next February.
Thank you so much, Stu.
Thank you.